Hello. Ew. Okay. There are things. Okay, this setup's crazy. I'm like set up on a chair. There are things I must discuss. First of all, hey to all my new viewers. Julia was spreading my account around. So, hey guys. This is about to be me talking about Marvel because that's like low-key what this channel like was built off of. Why does my hair look like that? Okay. So I just saw Thunderbolts. Full spoiler warnings. Like, none of this is gonna be non-spoilers. Like, right now I'm gonna say it's technically, this is so stupid. It's like the new Avengers was like, the whole thing with the Thunderbolts title was that it was like the asterisk was there, and so people were like, is this not the real title? And no, it's not. It's New Avengers, so T. So I don't even know where to start with this movie. I guess I'll start with saying this was like by far the best Marvel movie since No Way Home. I don't think I can fully say right now whether or not it was better than No Way Home, but like low-key, like this, No Way Home, and Civil War, all top tier. And Civil War is like one of my favorite movies ever. So there's a lot going for this movie. I guess like I'll just like start. So we start off with Yelena, of course, our queen. She was really like, I mean, obviously was like the lead of this movie. I was expecting there to be a lot more Bucky than there was, but like the movie was great without him being a focus, so like it's okay. I do love Bucky though, but it's okay. Like, I feel like any movie that he's in, I'm always so focused on him. Like, he was in Brave New World for that like 2-second scene, and I was like so obsessed. And then he was in this movie for a lot more than that, but he wasn't really playing a main role, but it was still like good to see him around. So we got them. There's John Walker, who we haven't seen in a minute. I'm really impressed with what they did with his character, because in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, episode 5, diabolical. Actually, I don't know if it was episode 5 or episode 4, but when he's using the Captain America shield to like split that guy's chest open, a little daunting to come back from. But they actually like did it quite well. Not to be a John Walker defender, but I think I might be. Also, they gave him that cute little hat at the end. That little beret. Loved it. Yeah. There's him. There's Ghost, who is new? Is she? I'm not gonna say that she's new, because that's probably not true. But I don't remember what she's from, if she's from something. So, I don't know. Then there's Taskmaster, who dies within like 2 seconds, which apparently everyone knew. Like, I was seeing all these comments with the promo for the movie being like, oh, like, you're ruining that Taskmaster died. But I like forgot. So I knew there was someone that died really early on, but it was Taskmaster, who was from Black Widow, of course. And then there's Red Guardian, also from Black Widow, Yelena's dad. Am I forgetting anyone? Oh, I am forgetting someone. Mr. Bob. Y'all. Bob was crazy. I loved everything with Bob. I guess I feel like I need to like fully get into him a little bit later. I guess, hold on. Let's do a little overview. So this movie is essentially about like depression and loneliness, which is crazy, and like self-sabotage in a way. Like, it's actually so insane that like I love that they did this. Like, it's so not like what a Marvel movie would do. or I feel like a Marvel movie would do this, but like a typical, when you think of like an action movie, you don't really think about like you're battling your inner demons, but that's really what this movie did. It reminded me a lot of Moon Knight in a lot of ways, with like the blocking out the past and stuff. And like seeing these like heroes or like people that are in this world of vigilanteism, like where it came from in their childhood that led them to that, which like happens pretty much exactly in Moon Knight and then happened again here. So I loved that. But yeah, I guess now I'm just gonna go through the whole movie and kind of discuss what I loved about it. I literally just watched it, so I'm gonna try to like active recall. It starts with Yelena little monologue talking about how she feels lonely and like whatever. But she says, I forget what the line is, but it's like right in the beginning where she's like, I feel like I have this emptiness inside of me, whatever. Or maybe I'm just bored. And I thought that was so good. But then she's like invading this little lab. And we don't really know what's going on. We just know that someone has sent her on this mission. We find out it's Valentina, Val. Yeah, Val. Which we kind of knew that she was working with Val in the past. I think I assumed that she stopped working with her after the Hawkeye stuff, but she didn't. She does little jobs for Val. And so she's evading this lab that Val has sent her on. She doesn't really know what's going on. She ends up no, she does. She ends up blowing it up, actually. So there's that. And then I think then is when we cut to Bucky. So Bucky sort of has like a different thing going on. Like he's sort of got the B plot that then converges with the A plot. So he is a congressman, which so in Brave New World, which I believe takes place a few months before Thunderbolts, Bucky, I think, was running for Congress or something. I don't think he was officially in it, unless I'm completely wrong, but we were sort of like soft launched there that Bucky's running for Congress. Which I was like, oh, tea. But then he's like, actually, he's been elected into Congress now. He's a bad congressman. Like, he gets asked these interview questions and he's like, it's very worrying, and the worrying situation has us very concerned. And it's like stupid, but it's like funny because it's Bucky, who was like literally the last person you would expect to be in Congress. But then we get this plot of Val is being impeached. She has some sort of position in the government. I don't remember what. But she's being impeached for something. I do love the tea that they were like talking about this corrupt person being impeached because Mr. been impeached twice. Anyway, so we also meet her assistant or something, Mal. I'm pretty sure her name is Mal, which is crazy because why are their names Val and Mal? Hilarious. But Mal is sort of like, she's giving interns, she's giving like straight out of college, maybe not actually, but like just like trying to like do good in the world. Like she actually talks about that, how she just wants to like help people. And so they go to this fancy party and Bucky is like, he goes to see Mal and Mal is like, I know who you are. And he's like, right, like, here's my business card if you ever need help because you're working for someone crazy. Because Val is being impeached for having this like crazy technology that is like, they're doing tests on people and it's super inhumane and all this stuff. So then back to the A plot. Yelena meets up with Red Guardian. What the frick is his name? I don't remember what his name is. Red Guardian. I feel I'm just gonna have to call it. Bro, it was just there. I literally can't do it. Okay, until I remember his name, I'm gonna call him Red Guardian. So, Yolensi? No. Yelena, Natasha. Bro, it's something like Alensi or something. I don't know. Alexei? Is that his name? Hey, I'm gonna call him Red Guardian because I don't know. So Yelena calls Red Guardian up, comes over to his house. He is living in a mess of a state. He's doing like weird limo jobs. He's just like doing some weird side jobs. He very much like his heyday is in the past, and he's in this sort of sad state. Everyone's in this sort of sad state, which is very important. Yelena shows up. She is sad, and she's like, he basically convinces her that like she has no purpose in her life, and like she needs to start doing good and like doing actual jobs that are like heroic rather than doing like weird vigilante stuff. So she's like, okay. She calls Val up and she's like, okay, I'll do this one last job, but like next time I want to do something a little more public facing and become like a hero. And Val's like, okay. Val, again, is in the middle of this impeachment thing, and so she and Mal are on the phone doing stuff, trying to get everything in terms of the lab and this new like project that she's been working on, testing on humans. They're getting it all shut down. Every factory, every person that knows about it, everything is being cut off. And so she sends Yelena into this factory where they think someone has broken in and that she needs to go get them so that this information is still classified. Yelena goes in. Who does she find but John Walker? Right, really weird. And so they start fighting. And then Yelena is like, I'm not sent here for you. Like, I don't know what you're doing. And he's like, well, I've been sent here for you. So he's still attacking her. And then they see, I think then Taskmaster shows up. Taskmaster is after John then. And they're like, what is going on? Then Ghost shows up. Ghost is after Taskmaster. And it's like this whole thing. And I just have to say, like, I love Marvel. I'm not a huge fan of action sequences. Like, sometimes I really just don't care. Because in my head, I'm like, I know it's choreographed. I know it's often stunt doubles. And I'm just like, well, okay, sure. This movie, though, had some awesome fight scenes. This one was specifically a super, super standout. Like, low-key, probably one of my favorite Marvel scenes. Because it's like, you know, other than Ghost, which I might have seen, again, I have no clue if Ghost has been in a movie before. I don't remember. But these characters, like Yelena and John Walker especially, you know them, which I guess, I don't know, I guess in every fight scene you know some of the people, but like, whatever. It was this really cool, like, them all having these super different powers. Like, there's this one part where they had a knife, where, like, Yelena threw a knife at Ghost, and then Ghost has the ability to, like, disappear and reappear. She disappeared, so she was out of the way of the knife, and then reappeared and caught the knife over here, and then threw the knife or something at John Walker, and he is facing the other way and catches it here. Like, it was so crazy. And just, like, the way all of them are so good at what they do and using all these different things. And it was, like, it probably wasn't a one-shot, but, like, it had that vibe of just being, like, they're all so good at this that it's just this, like, flawless choreography. Like, it just makes sense. So, props to the stunt team. Loved it. And then as they're in there, this guy named Bob appears, and he's like, hey, I'm Bob. And here's when we get into Bob, because, like, it was so unique and, like, not like anything Marvel's ever done, which is what they need to keep doing, because, oh, it was so good. He shows up, and he has no clue what's going on, and he's, like, this really, like, he's just this mix of, like, we're kind of sus because we're like, wait, but, like, who is this guy? How did he get in here? But he's so innocent and is like, I don't know how I got here. And then, like, he's, like, not scared. I mean, he is kind of scared, but he's just, like, trying to help. Like, it's so funny. And just, like, I loved Bob. Let's just say that. Yeah. And so we're just kind of like, okay, that's kind of weird. He's here. So eventually, at some point, Ghost shoots Taskmaster in the head. That's when Taskmaster dies. So then it's just Bob, Ghost, Walker, and Yelena in this room, and they're like putting together the pieces of like them all being sent there with Val, and it's a mission to like set them up. And then Val turns on the incinerators to kill all of them because they are like the final piece of erasing her history, because they all know about all the stuff that they've been covering up. So she needs to cover up them. So she sends in the incinerator. She's gonna like burn them all to death. But they work together. All of these people that are like evil, like the anti-heroes, all of they're working together to get out of there. It eventually works. And then something interesting happens. It explodes. They all like fly out of the room, and then Yelena and Bob just happen to be they get exploded out of the room, and they happen to land with their fingers slightly touching, and Yelena has this like flashback to her past when she was in the Red Room. Is that what it's called? Yeah, the Red Room. Where she was trained as a child soldier, and she had this other girl killed as one of her tasks. Very traumatic sort of thing. And then Yelena sees this and is like, whoa, and she snaps out of it, and then she looks at Bob and is like, huh? And they just think it's like coincidence or whatever. So then they're trying to escape from there. It's like, the movie's so good because it's all of these people that are not willing to work together, not collaborative, not trying to do good necessarily, just trying to do a job, and who have all like had bad pasts. They're all working together and like seeing like how they can get out, all this stuff. From this point, there's like this whole elevator shaft scene where they have to figure out a way to get up and out, and it's just this banter. It's great. Then they get to the top floor, and then Val is sending in all these troops to attack them. They have to work together again. The plan goes like slightly awry. They're all fighting, and then they get out eventually. They're in the car, and throughout this whole time, Bob hasn't really shown any powers, but he's just like, I can help. And so they give him a machine gun to be like, okay, sure, like, you can help. So it's like John, Yelena, and Ghost are in, I should call her Ava. Her name's Ava, not Ghost. They're in the, this little military truck, like trying to get out, but they won't let them through because they don't have identification. And so without them knowing, Bob sneaks out the back with his machine gun and then is like shooting at this guy as a distraction. And so they get to drive away, but Bob is back there and they're like, oh my gosh. And then they watch Bob get shot with about 520 bullets, like so many bullets. He's shot, he's dead. And they're like, oh my gosh, Bob, because he's just like this innocent guy, civilian, like whatever. And he, like, Yelena at some point, actually I forgot to mention this, Yelena, he was doing this whole talking thing about John Walker was sort of hating on him and like thinking he was sus. And so Bob started talking about like, yeah, maybe I'll just stay here. Like, I'm just like weighing you guys down, and like showing that he very much is not in a good mental space, is a little suicidal, dare you say. And so like him and Yelena had this like little conversation earlier about like, no, like it's okay, like you can be here, like we want to have you here, all this stuff. And then it's like sad, it's like, oh, Bob's dead. But is he? No. He rises up. His shirt is all tattered. He is not. And then bro starts levitating off the ground. And he shoots into the sky. Like up above the clouds. And then he falls down. And he essentially becomes this like asteroid, like coming into Earth, explodes the road that the three of them are driving along, and they get flown off a cliff. They no longer have a car, they have to walk. And we don't know where Bob is. So they're walking. They meet Alexei then. I'm pretty sure his name is Alexei, so I'm gonna call him that. But if his name isn't Alexei, then I'm so sorry. So now they're with Alexei. Alexei's driving. The people come up after them. They're in their little military vehicles, whatever. They're trying to fight back, and then suddenly Bucky Barnes arrives. Yes, Bucky Barnes arrives because he is trying to get Val impeached, which is so, like, I can't even believe the Bucky Barnes plot in this movie is that he's trying to get someone impeached. It's crazy. So he shows up and he's essentially, like, he ties them all up and is like, y'all need to tell me what's going on right now. And they tell him, and he's, like, trying to piece together what this experiment is that Val was doing or whatever. And it turns out it was successful. Even though they were trying to destroy it as it was, like, in its last stages, it actually became successful with Bob. We found out that Bob was, like, one of the test dummies, essentially. And so it's super crazy. He has these, like, telekinesis powers. And so it's like, whoa, that's crazy. He's, like, the superhuman sort of thing. He can fly. He can do a million bajillion different things. He has, like, a force field around him. Like, he's very, very OP. So then basically they find this out. Bucky is now in cahoots with Mal, who is seeing that this is, like, dangerous and that she doesn't really want to be a part of it. And so Bucky's calling her, they're figuring it out, whatever. And then they are like, okay, we need to go to New York. So they go to New York where they can, like, stop the Bob thing from going on. Because now the mission sort of shifted from getting Val impeached to, like, Bob is being a subject in this, like, trial. I don't know how to explain it. Like, they put superpowers into him and he's, like, dangerous now, essentially. And, like, Val has this now superhuman who's dangerous, all this stuff. So they go in and essentially Val is herself. She's, like, so snarky and whatever. And she's making fun of them because they're now, like, working together even though they're all bad guys. It's all weird. And then Bob comes down and he's Sentry. Which, okay, like, he comes down in this tea gold suit. His hair is now bleached blonde. Like, he got maybe like a little makeup on. Like, he really got, like, glammed up for this. And she's essentially like, he's gonna be the new, like, superhuman and he's gonna protect the world. And he's so tea, but he's got this little twitch in his eye that we're like, this is kind of scary. But he is sort of going along with Val. And he's like, guys, I don't want to hurt you. But, like, don't attack me and then I won't hurt you. But they do. Yelena is like, no, we shouldn't attack him because she sees that he's, like, not hostile. But they do attack him. It's a whole thing. So yeah, that's that. That's another huge fight sequence that I was so impressed by was the one where they're in the penthouse apartment, by the way, of Stark Tower, I'm pretty sure, which was now bought by Val, which I think we found out a few movies, shows, whatever ago. So that's very important. But they're all fighting Bob, but Bob is, like, effortlessly, like, boom, 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 in the wall, out the window, to the, like, all of it. So tea. And it's such a good mix of, like, there's sometimes where they do get a hit in, but he's just, like, completely, like, unfazed. But then there's other times where he just, like, effortlessly just, like, defects it. Like, it's so good. And then they all literally scurry away, which is so funny. Like, he defeats them. He rips Bucky's arm off. And they're like, oh, no, like, he ain't no match. We're no match for him. Like, he ripped Bucky's arm off. We can't be doing this. So they all scurry away into the elevator. And then Val is like, kill them. And he's like, I'm not going to kill them. And Val is like, you work for me. Like, you have to do it. And he's like, well, no, I don't. Like, I'm all powerful. I have complete, like, I'm literally the most powerful person here. Like, why am I listening to you? Like, it seems like I'm a god. That's, like, what he's saying. And she's like, oh, God. And he puts her up against the wall. And then his eyes go, like, bloodshot. And he gets, like, knocked out. And I'm trying to remember what did that. Oh, it was Mal freaking with the button. She like turns him off. And then they're saved. Mal and Val are like leave or whatever. And then essentially Sentry turns into like a shadow, which is so cool. He's a shadow, but he's got little eyes, little just like glimmers of light for eyes. And then his whole thing is he goes into the city and is essentially turning everything into shadows, which is so cool. Like, it's so cool to see. And also, just he looks so cool because he's like entirely shadow. It's very cool, very cool. And then the Thunderbolts, they go down. They essentially are like breaking up. They're like, we are horrible people, whatever. Like, we all have darkness inside us. We can't do this, whatever. Yelena leaves. Alexei comes back, and he has this beautiful heart-to-heart with her about, like, you don't have darkness inside of you, Yelena. You are, like, you had such light in you as a kid. You can get that light back. Like, you don't have to live like this. That was my Alexei impression. So then they have a little beautiful moment. She gets a little light back inside of her. And then Sentry comes down. He's turning everyone into shadows. And then we see a little glimpse of like the Thunderbolts sort of helping people out. And it's like, okay, they could be heroes. We could be heroes, you know what I'm saying? And so then Yelena walks into Sentry's shadow so that she can fight him once and for all. Or not fight, but like talk him down kind of. And so basically when you walk into Sentry's shadow, you go through all the traumas in your past that you have to like fight. So she gets through a bunch of stuff from her past of like the Red Room and training as a child soldier and whatnot. And then she gets to him, and it's Bob, like the innocent Bob we saw at the beginning, who's just like the good part of Bob essentially, who just like has no clue what's going on, and he's like, this is the only good room. And so she sort of takes a trip through, or she sees a glimpse of like the other rooms, which are his other bad memories, and it's like his abusive parents and that kind of thing. But then the other Thunderbolts are talking, and they're like, if Yelena went into the shadow, I think she has a plan, like I don't think she's dead. And so all of them follow her in there, even though it means they could have died. They all follow her in there, and they all end up also in this memory room. And so they're talking, and like Bucky says something about like, yeah, I had to go through, or I don't know what he said. He says something about like, yeah, loved going through like my memories or whatever. So like all of them had to go through their own horrible memory rooms to get to them. So like it's just this like dedication that they all have, and that they all have horrible pasts. Then together they fight through Bob's horrible memories. There's this really funny bit where at some point he was a sign spinner for a chicken shop, but he was on meth. And so there's this part where like in the memory rooms, the like memory version of Bob uses his sign and hits Alexei over the head, and Alexei says to like the now Bob, he's like, I'm going to kill you if you hit me with that sign again. And he goes, I was on meth. And I thought that was really funny. He's like, I was on meth. Like, what do you want me to do? I was on meth. So that was funny. And then they eventually get to this room where it's the lab where he essentially was like created into this monster Sentry thing. And he literally fights himself, shadow version. He's literally fighting the darkness in himself. Like, it's actually crazy. And as he's doing it, the darkness forces everyone else like on the other side of the room, literally like isolating himself, the self-sabotage, like the message is so there. It's great. And then eventually Yelena gets free, and she runs forward and just hugs Bob. She just hugs Bob. And then once she does that, the darkness sort of slowly starts to creep away. And then as it happens, the hold on the others gets a little weaker, and so they are able to break free also. and they all come forward and just hug Bob. Oh my god, it was such a sweet ending that I wasn't expecting. And they all hug, they're in this big like group hug, and Bob is crying and his shadow self is just like melting into the floor. Like, they were cooking like crazy with that. And yeah, and then they just like tumble back into the real world and they're all still in this group hug, and then they're like, oh. And then they see Val and she's like hiding behind this curtain, and they're like, we need to talk to you. And so she like goes behind this curtain, and so they walk through as well. They walk right into a little press conference where she's essentially like, hey guys, I would love to introduce the new Avengers. As if she's like on their side, which she's obviously not. But they're like, okay. Because like they did want to start doing some good in their life and be a team and have some like real impact and whatnot, find the purpose. And so they're like low-key like, well, okay, like we kind of do want to be the new Avengers. But then Yelena goes up to Val in her ear and whispers, we own you now. Which is so tea, and I love that. And then that's kind of how the movie ends, with just like Yelena being like, period. And it's so good. Like, it just ends with it. The first shot of the movie is her standing on this building, literally jumping off, being like, I have like nothing in my life. I'm hopeless. It's just like a void, or maybe I'm just bored. And then it ends with her just being like surrounded by these people that like understand her and all this stuff, and she's like this new step. Like, it's such a good arc. I don't know, like this movie really just made sense to me. So great work. And then the credits were all of this like, oh, it was so good, these like news articles and covers and all this stuff on the new Avengers. Like, there's a New Yorker cover where it was like the new Avengers there, the Times, all of these articles about like who's Bob, who are the new Avengers, like all of this stuff. It's so cute. What else? Okay, then the first end credit scene is Alexei in the super store hello in the store, where his face and the other new Avengers are now in a box of Wheaties, which he references earlier in the movie in the car when he's like, you want to be on the Wheaties box, like the event, whatever. And so it's a little joke on that. It's like, period. And then at the very end, we see the new Avengers really, like, they're in their little compound, they're in their outfits. Bucky? Someone did Bucky's hair. Because let me tell you, earlier in the movie, it was giving a little bit of this. It was giving a little, like, straight, sort of, a little swoop. At the end, it was giving coiffed. Like, it was giving Dyson Airwrap, kind of. So, like, they've been zhuzhed. Ava's got this little bob, I'm pretty sure, going. John Walker looks good. He's got his little beret, as I mentioned earlier. Bob is still there. Bob doesn't have superpowers. I'm pretty sure he's just sort of there as a friend, which I love that. That's so funny. But I'm pretty sure he doesn't have superpowers because he even references like, well, would you like me to get my superpowers back and become that little dark thing that I was before? Because no. So he's just sort of hanging out, which I think is great. Excuse me. But yeah, they're now a team, but there's like this new threat, and they're like, oh, we have to go respond to this threat. And it's the Fantastic Four ship, which, like, I'm not at all understanding the Fantastic Four thing. I've never seen the original movies. I've never read a comic. Like, I don't know what is going on with the Fantastic Four, but I'm assuming they're from a different universe, I guess, and they're coming in. Like, I really don't know, but there's obviously a Fantastic Four ship coming to the thunderbolts, the new Avengers. But yeah, I do feel like most Marvel movies end with like this new threat, and then we don't get a solution, dare I say, to it for like 5 years. So like, we'll wait and see, I guess. But yeah, that was such a long yap, but this movie was so good. Like, I was genuinely blown away by how heartfelt it was. And Bob was like one of the best new characters added since, like, I don't even know when. Loki, okay, hear me out here. I think Bob, I'm not talking like main character. Like, Kamala Khan doesn't count as, like, this is a different level from like the new main characters that have been introduced. I'm talking like side character villains, maybe. Let's say villains, because Bob's technically the villain. He's the best villain since, like, I'd say Jake Gyllenhaal in Far From Home. I think my favorite Marvel villains are gonna be Mr. Bob, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Zemo. Zemo's my number one forever because I love Civil War and he is just so good. But Bob was very, very good. Very, very good. And so I feel like he kind of made up for Bucky's absence because he was sort of like the brooding and mysterious one. So yeah. I've talked too much, but go see the movie because it's so good.